If I had zero real estate, this is the exact plan I'd start with. By the way, have you guys seen the TV show Undercover Billionaire? I always think back to this when I think about this question. They drop them in a random city with like an old truck and $100. I think it's $100 cash. And they got to go do something. And they're like all they're all billionaires technically, but they take everything away. I think it's interesting, like how, if we think about ourselves on that show, but we got to go build a real estate portfolio, like what would you guys do?
Do you get to pick the market, or is it just you're blindfolded, you're dropped in with nothing? Do you get the truck? Do you get the cash? And just get dropped into market of
I think it's okay. For the hypothetical, I'd say,
get specific, Mitch. Get specific.
I'd say, well, I know you need specific because you can't think outside the box. So yeah, we'll help you out. Okay, it's a 1979 Chevy short box. I don't know, whatever. You got $100 and you got a truck full of fuel, right? Like, how are you going to go buy some real estate, go build something?
All right, Gabe, what do? You just got dropped. And what do you have a time limit, or is it just like, this is your new home?
Let's give you a year. Why don't you have a year to go do something?
I don't know about this undercover billionaire thing, but I mean, if I had no real estate and was going to start right now, I'd probably download the 0 to 100 podcast. I'd go back and listen to every single episode, and then I'd buy the 0 to 100 unit book, and I'd read every page of that. And then I'd probably join the 0 to 100 mastermind. That's what I would do. No, sorry, that did sound a little self-serving, to be honest, now that I think about it. But I will say there is some truth to that. I think it's really important both to get educated and also surround yourself with the right people. So there's periods of time through my investment journey where, like, yes, I'm focused on just taking down deals, but there's or building relationships. There's other times I'm just really focused on educating myself. I think back, and it kind of came in, at different times where I'd buy a few properties and it was like, I need to educate. I need to learn more. So even though I was kind of halfway joking, like I would go listen to every one of our podcasts. Like our early podcasts, we're interviewing other investors who have done the thing. I think our last 100 or more, it's us three, just yapping about real estate with a lot of free information there. Our book, same thing. You can download it for free. As far as like what I would do if I just got dropped in a random city with little to no money and just had to like figure it out, and real estate was going to be my path. Like, yes, I'd get educated. I'd get the books. I'd listen to the podcast, but I'd find a real estate meetup. I would contact every, probably commercial Would I have my knowledge? Would I have the knowledge that I have today?
Yeah. You have the knowledge. Yeah.
I'd keep the knowledge. I would probably contact every single commercial real estate broker. We talk about our network and our network's network. It would be all around building relationships. It'd be about educating myself and then surrounding myself with people, both other investors who are in that local market and agents and brokers and others that are making and creating deals. I think that, I was telling someone today on a call who they really want to shift into commercial real estate. They've done a lot in the residential space. And I'm like, look, man, I've probably talked to hundreds of brokers, but there's only a handful that I actually work with. You kind of find your people like within your network. You kind of find your tribe within your tribe, so to speak, right? And so I think I'd have a lot of conversations with everybody real estate related until I found my people. And I'd go to real estate meetups. I would continue to grow my network and build relationships and get educated. And then I would focus on the deal after that.
I would take that $100. I would go to the first convenience store like they did in Dumb and Dumber and buy a cart full of the dumbest shit, eat a bunch of potato chips, and then cry myself to sleep.
That's what you do anyway.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, you got to get tactical though. Like, that's great, but you got $100. Like, you got to start with like the basic needs. Like, okay, I've got $100. You got to think about sleeping and eating. I mean, are we getting that tactical here, Mitch? I mean,
well, yeah. I mean, if we're really, yeah, like, if you really have $100, you have a couple of problems. First of all, you want to scale. But you have no money, you have no place to sleep, so you got to figure out like how to eat.
No. You go to a real estate meetup, they'll feed you. Like, go to a free real estate meetup, maybe they'll have some snacks. Like, spend like this guy. Think outside the box, man.
Go to Costco, eat all the samples, then go to the real estate meetup. I don't even know if I'd buy
the books. You could go in. Are there still Barnes and Nobles? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd go into a bookstore and I'd read all the books, or I'd download on audio. I'd just educate myself. You could figure out the eating thing.
No, but you got your skill. You've had your knowledge. You don't need that. Tactically, you hit the ground. You know what you know now. So you're like, okay, first of all, I love that. I got to eat. Costco, free samples, and then real estate meetups. That's interesting. And then start building your network immediately. Right? Start building your network. Mitch, what are you doing? You just hit the ground. Are you going to Costco, real estate meetup, starting to build your network immediately? I mean, because you need to make some quick cash probably. So are you flipping a house? Are you raising some money? Are you looking for a deal? And then you're going to go back to your meetup and then raise capital for the deal?
I think for me, here's the thing. I mean, you can't just eat food going to meetups. Like you're going to need some food. You're going to need some shelter. You're going to need something. So anyway, my point is, for me, I'm going to start a home services company like in an hour. Okay. Very, very quickly. And basically I'm going to go, for example, I'm going to offer to clean roofs and clean out gutters, and I'm going to door knock, and every single person I talk to, the point of that is I'm going to make a little bit of money. I don't care about making a ton of money, enough to have a place to sleep and a little bit of food, top ramen, whatever, the basics. The point is though, I'm going to get in front of people, and people are going to know me now. I'm going to talk to people. So I'm talking to every single person I'm talking to. I'm like, hey, I'm a real estate investor as well. I have this home services business. Make the offer, but start the conversation and build a relationship. Start collecting people, and from there, build the relationships necessary to free up deals and potentially get capital behind you.
So you're going to go knock on doors in affluent
100%.
Neighborhoods because these are potential investors.
100%. I'm gonna knock on doors and get in front of people and get to know people. You go to a meetup. I don't think it's a bad thing, but you're going to need a place to sleep. You're going to need food. Now you could sleep in the streets or in your truck, and you could dumpster dive as well, by the way, because restaurants throw out food. I'm just saying that's probably what
I eat a strict diet, so maybe the meetup thing's not going to work for me. And most meetups aren't that great. And Travis reminded me, I already have the knowledge. I'm gonna change my response. So get dropped in. I have no money. I'm gonna start a OnlyFans account. Sorry, and I'll make OnlyFans. I'll create some income that way. No, I'm just kidding.
What would you sell exactly there? What images of what? Images of what part of yourself could you describe?
Gabe's kind of like a Chippendale, he's a Chippendale real estate investor. There's your social media handle, the Chippendale real estate investor.
I wouldn't do well. OnlyFans would charge me to put my photos up there, Gabe. That's the problem. See,
that's why Gabe has to keep the strict diet so he can keep the OnlyFans.
That didn't exist back then. So like when I got started, so who knows? Who knows? No, all reality, you know what I think I would do? Like because I have the knowledge. Like I think back to when I actually started investing in real estate. I had no network, I had no money, and I had very, very little knowledge other than I got from the books. But I made 200 phone calls. I was on Craigslist every single night looking at for sale by owner, seller financing deals. Like that's how I found my first no money down seller finance deal. And that still exists. Now it took me a year. So what I would do in that year, like where I would sleep, what I would eat, I don't know. But I was working a 30-hour-a-week minimum wage job. So I wasn't, I wasn't broke, but I didn't have a lot of money. But every night I would look on Craigslist and I would type in those keywords like owner financing, seller financing. And it took a year, and it took 200 conversations and about, more than 200 calls, but about 200 conversations before I did that first seller finance deal. But once that deal was done, like that was enough to replace that minimum wage job, that cash flow from those first 4 units and then the 3 that I had. But then it snowballed from there. So I would definitely focus on continuing to get educated, surrounding myself with people in that market that were already in the game. But I'd also go and just network the shit out of myself and build genuine relationships with people that could potentially carry financing. I mean, I think I will live and die by, seller financing, especially a no money down seller finance deal is a great way to start. People say it doesn't exist today. I was on a call with a guy yesterday that's, working on a no money down seller finance deal on a property that will have some decent it'll cash flow, a couple grand a month. Like, those things, those properties, those investments still exist. It just takes a lot of conversations, a lot of calls, a lot of, relationships until you actually hit one.
I like that. I like you have $100. You could get a wheelbarrow, a shovel, maybe buy a used lawnmower, or like you said, buy some basic supplies. Go during the day. I like that because no one said go get a job, by the way. You notice that none of us would go get a job because then now you're trading 40 hours a week for income. Instead, you're knocking on doors. You could get enough work to eat, mowing lawns, cleaning gutters, treating roofs, that kind of stuff. And then network in affluent neighborhoods. Like tell people what you're doing. Tell them exactly what you plan to do. This is what I'm doing. I'm finding a really great opportunity that's going to build cash flow and wealth for prospective investors, here's the strategy that I have. Because you're out there, people are like, you go knock on somebody's door and you're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing for you, but also like, this is what I'm up to. These are potentially entrepreneurs or people that have cash, that have some experience. They're interested in your journey. Because by the way, if you ask anybody like the three of us that came from nothing and built up a real estate portfolio or built businesses, people love to talk about this exercise. What happens if I lost everything? So they're going to be really invested, I think, in your journey. Talk to as many people as you can. And then at night, go to the meetups. You're going to want to meet lenders, maybe hard money lenders, private money lenders. You're going to want to meet people that have capital. They're looking to place capital. And you're just going to get around other people that are doing the thing. And then if you're talking to enough brokers, hard money lenders, wholesalers, you're networking with people that have capital, then you're building your Rolodex. And then Rolodex, that's
let's get back to
Rolodex.
2026, Travis. Get out of the 1980s.
But that's an interesting. When people be interested in like following you on social media or email, like, oh my gosh, I mowed 5 lawns today, made this much money, went to this meetup, I talked to this many people, I found this opportunity. It's really interesting. People are going to be vested in your journey. But at the end of the day, you either have to find a no money down seller finance deal or private money or hard money where they can finance the whole deal, or that coupled with other people's capital that want to invest alongside of you.
Hey guys, if you like what you're hearing on the 0 to 100 podcast, come join the 0 to 100 Elite Mastermind. We have a very simple goal for you. That's replace your day job, make $120,000 a year plus in cash flow, real estate, and become a millionaire. That's it. If you like that, if that's you, click the link below and we'll see you on the 0 to 100 Elite Mastermind.
We all came at this a little bit differently, but I think all of the approaches in my mind are valid because here's the thing. When you get a job, a job will suck up all of your time, just like a vacuum. You have no time to do these things.
And you're not networking usually with the people you want to network with.
Right. And so where I come from with my approach and your guys' approach, the same thing, is like figure out how to eat and have like some shelter. Because like we all know we need that. All right. So you figure that piece out. That's simple. It could be a part-time side gig. It could be a little business, home services, whatever that is. But the focus is like finding good deals, opportunities, and finding people, collecting people, right? So like if you can collect enough people behind you, whether that's a deal source or somebody gives you a hard money loan or a seller contract, whatever that comes down to, that's the focus. I think most people in today's world, they think very like linearly and they think about their education first, then they think about getting a job and building a resume via their job. And they're never, ever thinking about like collecting people and building relationships outside of that in the entrepreneurial sort of world. So like I think this is an exercise in managing energy. Where does your energy go? And by the way, when you watch Undercover Billionaire, go watch Grant Cardone or one of those episodes. It is interesting. They just do something to survive before they can build a really good network and go.
I want to emphasize one more thing. I want to go back to the seller finance thing. And I know I'm beating a dead horse and I talk about this a lot, but I haven't on a lot of like recent episodes. Look, I got my start with no money down seller financing, and this was not a hypothetical for me. Like before I got deployed to the Middle East and, with the Army, I lived in a friend's attic for $100 a month. I was essentially dropped here with nothing. But I realized, when I started buying with no money down seller financing, most realtors, agents, brokers, sellers are like, that's not a thing people do anymore. But I just didn't believe it. I didn't have another option. I wasn't bank financeable. Like I didn't, but again, I'll say it again. I had 200. I looked at 200 deals, 200 phone calls, like until that deal landed, right? And so I have people say, I can't find anyone that will seller finance me a property. But they've looked at like 2 properties and they've offered seller financing on 2 properties. Investors, and this is why it's important to network with other investors. They're not your competition. Not all real estate investors are your competition. They're your partners. A lot of times, a real estate investor that's farther along in their journey will be the investor that carries financing for you. And they'll do it because they know you and like you and trust you. And they'll see something in you that they saw in themselves 25, 30 years before, right? And so it's like position yourself to get around other investors with a genuine curiosity, a genuine interest on how they built their portfolio. Because oftentimes, I think every seller finance deal I've ever done, it's never been their primary residence. It's been investment properties that they've owned for 20, 30, 40 years. And they're just ready to get on the other side of that and be the bank and carry financing for someone that is excited about real estate the way they were 30 years prior. And then they learn to, they get to know you, they like you, they trust you, and they actually want to sell you their property with really great terms. Those deals still exist. You just have to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people to make that shit happen.
Well, a lot of people forget on owner financing. You know, when you're talking to this prospective seller, they understand they can put a first position on the property. They understand that they can take that property back if they have to, right? You can de-risk it for them, but you can also absolve them from the management duties. Maybe they're a small mom and pop. They have a handful of single family homes or small plexes. They like the income. They're just tired. They just have, burnout landlord syndrome. You can take the management off their hands and you can give them an annuity stream. You can give them cash flow. I think the question here, though, is the old adage of if you find a great deal, the people will come, whether it's the private money lenders, whether it's, other investors that want to be equity investors with you. So I think, but a lot of people forget that. I think they stop at that. They say, you find a great deal, the money will come. Well, not necessarily. Before you find that great deal, you need to build that network. And I think that's where I like the idea of a home service company, because then you can start making some good margin. Right? People like convenience, and like a lot of high school kids these days, they're not wanting to do dirty work. So if you're like, I'm going to charge you $300 to do all of this, that's $300. Maybe do 2 houses a day. That's $600, right? You've just 6x'd your money, but now you've just talked to a lot of people and you're telling everybody what your journey is. Gabe, when you started, everywhere you went to the restaurant, you told them you're a real estate investor. You're looking for properties. You go to the meetups, you tell people what you're looking for. I mean, that.
Well, the other thing too, I'll say is like, if you can do the home services idea or whatever, here's the point. Get out of behind the computer. Like, get out there. So now you're looking at homes, you're looking at residential homes. You understand the community. You're driving by a mobile home park, an apartment complex. You can start seeing things other people can't see. You can see an old dilapidated home with the grass overgrown and the male sitting in the yard going, what if I like made an offer on that thing? Maybe I can buy that home or that apartment complex, or that. You're starting to see different things. And I think the number one thing for an entrepreneur in my mind is you're putting together puzzles. So for example, if you built this network, right? I've got 2 or 3 guys or gals that are like, dude, I'm interested. Like, well, when you find this thing, whatever, and all of a sudden you find this apartment complex that's broken, and you make an offer on this thing, and now you go back to your other guys or your partners, your friends, and you're like, look, I have this thing tied up. Like, I don't have the cash. Like, let's be creative on this thing. They're going, dude, there's value there. Like, you're just connecting. You're just putting things together. And I think when you're out in the community, you're seeing, you're learning the properties, you're meeting people. I think you could do that.
So is there a specific type of, say you start building a network, is there a specific type of property you're looking for? Because the clock's ticking. Are you just looking for homes, plexes, or just anything that makes sense from a cash flow perspective?
I mean, I think for me, I'd be looking for value.
I'd be looking for cash flow from day one. I'd look for any property that cash flows, any property that put money in my pocket on the day that I bought the property.